I also owned and performed a touring theater company in the United Kingdom and in Europe, and included productions in both at Heidelberg Castle. Thirdly, we will share information on how cannabidiol works in your biological systems. While therapeutic benefits of cannabinoids are widely accepted, we know that some of you may still be a little hesitant. Unfortunately, there is still a stigma attached to the use of cannabinoids, and you may not be convinced that they are right for yourself or your family. We understand how you may be feeling, and our goal this evening is to provide some information for you to help you make an informed decision. We've listened to the many questions people have raised, and we want to have an opportunity for you to learn how cannabinoids naturally interact with the body's systems. By the time we are finished today, I hope you will have a greater sense of comfort and confidence. So, let's get started. Cannabis has been used for over 5,000 years and has been referred to in Chinese, Buddhist, and Sanskrit literature. Cannabis has an ancient history as a ritual use and is also found in medicines in all parts of the globe. The Chinese Emperor Fuxi noted the popularity of cannabis as a medicine with properties of both yin and yang, a balance. Cannabis is listed as one of the 50 fundamental herbs of Chinese medicine. Throughout the United States, cannabis has been used for a variety of things. Here's a list of them just to give you a bit of an idea. It's been used in agriculture, in industrial uses, in construction and building materials, textiles, foods, medicines, and paper, just to name a few of the items. In 1652, it was acknowledged that cannabis had a variety of medicinal uses. In 1776, early drafts of our Constitution may have been written on hemp paper. George Washington cultivated hemp. He cultivated for commercial use. He found it required little fertilizer and little water, and its root system actually aerated the soil. In the 1840s, hemp had become a mainstream medicine in the United States, and studies found that cannabis suppressed headaches and aided sleep. In 1850, marijuana, or cannabis, was added to the pharmacopoeia of the United States. This is what all physicians refer to for the prescription medications. Various ailments were approved for treatment. It was used for simple ailments like dysentery, tonsillitis, and gout, to such dramatic ailments as mental disorders, opiate addiction, and alcoholism. Amazingly, we found that cannabis was used for opium withdrawal. Just think about that in today's world, when we're finding so many ways to get off opiate addictions and to keep from prescribing opiates in our pills. In 1893 and 94, the Indian Hemp Commission identified various uses for cannabis, or medical marijuana. In 1913, the United States production of cannabis reached the quality that we found in the Indian cannabis growth. And the Indian cannabis was the primary foreign source of cannabis that was used in the United States. In World War I, our supply of the foreign cannabis from India was cut off, and it was necessary for the United States to become self-sufficient. By 1918, the U.S. and their pharmaceutical farms were growing up to 60,000 pounds of cannabis annually to be used in a variety of ways. In the 1930s, all sorts of pharmaceutical firms were selling extracts of marijuana as medicine. 80% of all medicine in the United States had cannabis in it prior to 1936. At least two of our largest American companies, Park Davis and Eli Lilly, were marketing standardized extracts of cannabis. Standardized extracts of cannabis from two of our major pharmaceutical companies. In 1930s, everything changed. William Randolph Hearst, our newspaper tycoon, suddenly recognized that hemp production was conflicting with his lumber and paper industries. Well, he might have been trying to reduce the competition, but in any case, he was very negative to hemp. And he ensured that the words hemp and cannabis were no longer used in any of his newspapers. Instead, he used the word marijuana, and he began publishing articles in his newspapers featuring the most negative and outlandish stories about marijuana. Additionally, in 1933, Lamont DuPont of the DuPont chemical firm was heavily invested in the new synthetic types of fibers, in rayon, in cellophane, and in 1935, the newly invented nylon, a synthetic competitor to hemp. He eliminated the competition, and it spelled the end of the use of hemp in fibers, in packaging, in nylon stocking industry, and other programs that DuPont was involved with. Many of you may not realize this, but Ford made a hemp car. The fuel for the car was ethanol made from hemp. Just think about the gas stations today and how much ethanol is added to our formulas for gasoline. Ford's plastic was composed of 70% cellulose from wheat, straw, hemp, and sisal. This plastic was very resistant to damage and better than the metal cars. But his plastic car technology was forsaken with the outlawing of hemp and the potential damaging effects it would have on plastics, oil, and paper industries. Here's my favorite. In 1936, there was a wonderful film production called Reefer Madness. That's really its name, Reefer Madness. Anybody seen the film? Oh, all right. If you haven't, it's available on YouTube for free, and it's wonderful to watch. That film demonized cannabis and marijuana and featured the ridiculous dangers of all these substances. The film is a classic today, and it's only surpassed by that wonderful cult film that we know of as the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Also in 1937, the Marijuana Tax Act was passed. Now, that didn't outlaw marijuana, but it placed a tax on the sale of cannabis, resulting in federal convictions for anyone not paying the marijuana tax. The result of all of this negative activity, the drama, and the ensuing regulation resulted in the reduction of the use of cannabis in medicines, the rise of new medicines such as aspirin, morphine, and other opium-derived drugs replaced cannabis in the treatment of medical conditions in American medicine. So by 1937, cannabis had all but disappeared from medicine in the United States. I'd like now to take an opportunity to introduce you to our Health and Wellness Advisor to talk about the discoveries and the developments which have led to today's use of cannabis and CBD. Janet Henshaw is the Health and Wellness Advisor for the Summer CBD Symposium. Janet has been passionately involved in naturopathic health throughout her life. 14 years ago, Janet began her recovery from leukemia using her own naturopathic knowledge, and today is cancer-free. She owned and directed the Yucatan Health Home in Merida, Yucatan from November 2012 to September 2014, when she returned to the United States. From 2004 to 2009, she owned the Circle of Life Wellness Center in Reno, Nevada. She also conducted training classes in detoxification in Reno, Nevada, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and Merida, Yucatan, Mexico. Janet is certified in biomagnetism and has studied nutrition and dark field microscopy. Her professional training includes holistic health macrobiotics with Dr. Sherry Rogers, a leading national toxicology expert. From 1973 to 1985, Janet was tutored by Dr. Carl Ebenather, a naturopathic physician, learning to combine nature and natural science to facilitate the body's inherent ability to restore and maintain optimal health. Janet is also certified by the National Institute for the Certification in Engineering Technologies, NICAT Phase 2, and is trained in mechanical drafting, AutoCAD, and physical education. Janet's a master multitasker, I'm telling you. So, now it's my opportunity to present to you Ms. Janet Henshaw.
That was too much. Thank you so much, Miss Laurel. You probably don't need this with me, but I talk so loud you probably don't need anything. But, you know, Laurel is one of those beautiful people who I had the opportunity to meet about 3 years ago. And a little bit later, I'm going to ask her to tell you a little bit about what has changed in her life personally since we have met. And, you know, the one thing that I can say is when I told her we were working on putting this together, she said, I'm there. I'll help you. I will support you. She's professional. She's incredible. And what an amazing friend. So, you know, I really appreciate everything that you've done to support me with what we are doing here tonight. You know, Laurel told you a little bit about myself, that experiencing the leukemia that went stage 4, metastasized to the bone, I lost my vision and passed twice in my journey. And all of that came about due to the exposure to mustard gas. I'm one of 150 people that's alive today. The rest passed within 18 days. And I can tell you that it's been a gift, and a gift that I thank God for every day. Because if that hadn't happened to me, I wouldn't be able to share who I am with each and every one of you, to give you my knowledge and do it with passion. So right now I'm going to move forward and share just a little bit more about what we're actually doing here tonight. And I'm going to start with a little bit of what you saw, you heard about me. We don't need to hear anymore. We don't need to see anymore. I'm just me, okay? But I am going to tell you that in 1968, UK Wooten, this is a really incredible thing. If you understand that THC, that is what we understand to be the psychoactive effect. That is only one of 113 cannabidiols, okay? What is that actually changed what happened in 1937? It was only one out of 113 cannabidiols, excuse me. And when they found that this changed those psychoactive effects, they were able to produce Reefer Madness. And when you see Reefer Madness, I'm telling you, they tell you that, you know, you're gonna get high and you're gonna jump out of a window. You're gonna get high and you're gonna shoot your best friend or your girlfriend or your wife. It's a great movie, and as Laurel said, it's something that you should see because it is what demonized all of this for us. One part of an incredible natural product. Now, in 2014, there was a farm bill that was written, and this farm bill said, if you have less than 0.3% THC in a product called CBD, it will be legalized across the United States. Now, it didn't actually happen until March of 2017. So 2017, this 100% passed. We are legal in all 50 states federally. Some states still have a couple issues But federally, it is 100% legal. But it must follow those guidelines. Not only the 0.3% THC, but it also must be phytocannabinoid rich. And I will explain that in just a few minutes. Now, this happened just a little over a month ago, June 25th of 2018. We've all heard about epilepsy, we've heard about seizures, and we see people we love with these situations. The FDA approved Cannabidiol for seizures, okay? 2 different types, and they are completely resistant to the other drugs and the pharmaceuticals that are out there in the market. And Dravet is absolutely a devastating seizure. It is, if you've ever seen it, it's something that you never ever want anyone to go through because it's just incredible. Now, a bill was just passed. Now, when I say passed, we are not through legislature yet. We've only done the first stage. So what happened is, this is to give the opportunity of CBD to become an agricultural product. Now, it's gone through the legislation, 86 to 11, but now it's still got 2 more levels it actually has to go before it becomes a federal law. But what it's going to do is it's going to take us off the Schedule 1 drugs. That's a huge statement when they can actually see the benefit of what this really is. How many of you drink coffee? Cannabidiol's in coffee. How many of you eat chocolate? Cannabidiol's in chocolate. Have you ever heard of echinacea? Cannabidiol's in echinacea. Kava, spinach, your greens, they all have cannabidiol. Your fruits and vegetables have cannabidiol. It's really an incredible product. So I want to read to you something that was written for us from our physician. We have a physician that actually is a medical physician who not only is he a medical physician, now he also is an integrative medical physician. He is fully licensed as a medical marijuana prescriber, but yet he's using CBD in his practice. He's from Florida, he's an amazing man. And so I'm gonna read this verbatim because I don't want to change his words. He says, as an integrative medicine physician, I am always looking for the most natural but powerful ways to combat the myriad of ailments, from which we are currently suffering. From physical to mental, to even spiritual imbalance, the common denominator of most states of disease humans are currently experiencing in the modern world is excitation. The cascade of biochemical imbalances we are experiencing, from the onslaught of toxicity, stress, nutritional deficiencies, and hormone burnout, as well as some excesses, i.e. leptin, insulin, estrogen, are best counteracted by protocols and natural products that reduce this overstimulation to our bodies. The resultant inflammation, oxidation, mental stress, and anxiety, a direct cause of the majority of what ails us. Now is the perfect time to finally use one of nature's most powerful tools to combat these issues. From psychological stresses, from the environment, dietary and medical exposures to excitoxins. Geez, some of these words are tongue twisters for me. To the underlying biochemical imbalancing, worsening the excitatory state, adrenal fatigue, we've all heard of that. Autoimmune diseases, we've heard of those. And more. Cannabinoids may very well be the perfect solution to our most common current health problems. Just as THC is well known to relax the psyche, cannabinoids are being shown to have the same calming, deactivating, anti-inflammatory, antioxidative, and anti-stimulatory effects on our bodies in growing ways. Instead of using 5 or 10 nutritional or even medicinal products to combat these growing issues that break down our bodies, causing disease. One good dose of full spectrum, organic, non-GMO, and water soluble, highly absorbable cannabinoids can accomplish more without side effects. Safe for our kids and to cancer patients, this may truly be the miracle cure that we've been waiting for. Now, the thing that you've got to understand about this man is he is an MD. He's practiced writing prescriptions. He decided that writing prescriptions over his 20 years wasn't good enough, that he was not seeing enough change in people's bodies. And so then he became licensed to be a medical marijuana prescriber, which is very difficult because it's extremely expensive. It actually cost him almost $350,000 just to become licensed and certified. And now, what is he doing with his patients? He's using CBD. This is really important to understand because it changes your life to that degree. Now, some of these things we've already talked about. Mental clarity, energy, focus. Some of the things that we think about every single day are energy, pain. Each and every one of us has felt or has one of these issues going on with their body. If we could take something very simple and reduce some of the pain, some of the chronic pain, the pain from chemotherapy, some of the pain that we feel from diabetes and neuropathy, okay? We all have different types of pain in our body. We've heard of arthritic pain, okay? I personally crushed my foot when I was 19 years old. I've had 9 major reconstructive foot surgeries. They said I would never walk again. I'm standing here tonight with 0 pain. We can take a product to help us. Now, when you think about some of these issues that you're seeing up here, you've got friends who might have cancer, muscular dystrophy. We've talked about fatigue, Crohn's, IBS. A lot of people today can't leave their homes because of IBS. What if they could take something as simple as CBD and make that change? Gastrointestinal, MS, epilepsy, seizures, ALS, arthritis, inflammation. There have been 2,400 white paper studies done. That's a huge number to prove that cannabidiol will actually work to recover the body from these issues. This is not something I'm saying. These are white paper studies. You can actually go and you can look at the study online and you can type in MS and CBD and you can see those studies. In 1992, the biggest and the most important discovery in science happened. It was the discovery of your endocannabinoid system. Your endocannabinoid system has something, it's actually been shut off since 1937. When we stopped the ingestion of the cannabidiols, the endocannabinoid system was turned off. It's like turning a valve. And what is that? It is your immune system. It's your nervous system. It works with every area in your body. We hear about things like diabetes, and we wonder why it's been on the rise. Well, our endocannabinoid system has changed. I've got people who've been on CBD for just 3 short months, and their A1C number has dropped 1 full point. That's a huge statement. The endocannabinoid system is probably the most important thing that we have in our body today. It allows the phytonutrients to go to those nerve endings, into those pain receptors, and make a change within our bodies very rapidly. What the heck is phytocannabinoid rich? This is probably one of the most important things to understand, because with the Farm Bill 7606, if the product that you are using today or purchasing, if it doesn't say phytocannabinoid rich, it cannot cross state lines. Okay? Phytocannabinoid rich is the synergistic aspect of what we get when you mix these nutrients together. And this is how we can be legal in all 50 states if you have that on your label. When you think about what is actually in cannabidiol, these are some of the nutritional aspects of what it is. Vitamin D, we've all heard about bones. And what we really need for our bones is vitamin D. Just about everyone I talk to today, their physicians have told them that they need to be on 2 to 4 to 5,000 milligrams of vitamin D a day. You can get it in your cannabidiol. Vitamin E blocks free radicals. We've all heard about aging. Vitamin E helps with the anti-aging, not just externally, but internally as well. And then we have amino acids. Amino acids work really, really well for inflammation, reducing fat. I have one gal who called me and said, I've been on this product for 4 months and I've lost 40 pounds and changed nothing. What am I doing? I'm thrilled. I want to keep going. And I said, that's all you have to do, is just keep going. Don't give up on yourself. We can help with the cognitive abilities. Really incredible today. We hear about ADD, ADHD, dementia, senile dementia. We hear about all of these things. We can change that with the same nutritional product. Reduce fatigue, improve muscle growth. We also have a few more things, omega-3, 6, and 9. We've all heard about that related to our heart. We've heard about the value of what this is, and we've all heard about taking fish oils. Now, I don't know about you, but I've taken fish oils, and when I take them, I have a terrible problem because I burp up fish oils. And I really don't like that taste. This is absolutely essential to our bodies. And so this is an essential oil that actually works better than fish oils. Okay? Really important to understand this. It works with type 2 diabetes. It works with arthritis, cancer, IBS, macular degeneration. What is macular degeneration? Okay, it's the pressure, the inflammation. This is an anti-inflammatory, so it works with your eyes. It's changed my vision tremendously after not having it for a short period of time. The most important part about what you're looking for related to any CBD product is you want 0 THC, 0 pesticides, 0 chemicals, 0 genetically modified product. Most products out there are made 3 different ways. The first one is in a garage. 2-gallon pots. They use propylene glycol, which is antifreeze. They use ethanol, or they use butane. And they're doing this in their garage for their extraction, but once they do the extraction and mix it, they can't take those products out. So not only are you ingesting the benefits of the CBD, now you're getting the propylene glycol, the ethanol, and the butane. Not a great product in my eyes. The second method that you can actually do is a liposomal. And what liposomal is, they use a sunflower oil to do the extraction, and then they use a frequency and a vibration to enhance the bioavailability of the product. Once again, oftentimes they don't take out the ethanol, the alcohol, the propylene glycol, the butane that they use to do the extraction, because you must use one of those things for the extraction method. Okay? Now, it's about a 10% absorption, which is pretty good. You know, we're liking that. That's a whole lot better. What I really like is the nano-emulsion. A nano-emulsion process actually is a water-soluble, phytocannabinoid-rich, full spectrum, and I will explain that in just a moment here, product. And those are the things that you're looking for in your products. Let's experience some CBD. We've got a few people here who are going to hand out some samples. okay? In those samples, what you're gonna see is there's going to be a tincture bottle. It's very small and very potent. So if you're willing to try it now, you may. They're gonna give those to you in just a second. And you wanna fill up the dropper completely and put it under your tongue. Let it sit there for about 30 seconds. If you would like to use the salve, which is our topical product, that you take the back of your thumb and just a little bit on your thumbnail. You don't need a lot. James, how much did I put on your knee Wednesday night?
Very, very little.
Very little. And it worked, right?
3 to 5 minutes.
Okay, so if you're willing to try these, they're handing them out, and so you're more than welcome. If you're not, we completely understand. You don't have to do this. This is just an opportunity for you if you're willing to try it.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
All right. Robin would like some.
Oh, no, I was gonna ask a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It says bruises on there.
Uh-huh.
Is it for the discoloration the bruises bring on?
It absolutely is for bruising, yes. It reduces the bruising, okay? And it clears it up very, very rapidly, which is what's the most important aspect. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, perfect. Okay, so now that you've got your samples, I am gonna go ahead and move on. We've got a couple people that need more samples here. Okay. This product that you're trying is as clean as I just showed you on that slide. Okay? Just so you know. PCR is phytocannabinoid rich. All right? So here we are. We're talking about consistency and quality. And I really want you to understand the differences between the different qualities and how products are made. There's a product that is a cannabinoid isolate. Okay, an isolate can be put into olive oil, MCT, which is a coconut extract, or it can be put into any vegetable oil out there. So when you think about taking an isolate and just doing this over top of the oil, and it's only one part of the CBD. So that is a product that is an isolate. You also can have solvents like the propylene glycol and the other chemicals which I talked about earlier in that product. Then you have the water-soluble phytocannabinoid-rich formulas. Now what is great about this is it literally goes directly into your bloodstream. And you can see changes as quickly as 3 minutes. The quality is absolutely imperative when you're taking something internally. In the marketplace today, there are tinctures. Tinctures are the drops of the oil, and they go underneath your tongue sublingually. Leave them there for about 30 seconds, and then swallow. If you're thinking about the salve, that is the topical. You can use that anywhere. The salve works very well on the inside of the wrist. It works very well on the arch of the foot for absorption. Okay? If you don't want to ingest it, you can put it on the wrist or on the arch of the foot. Capsules are going to be a little bit slower time release because they've got to go through your digestive tract. So that's something that if you've got immediate pain or you've got a seizure, you're going to want to use the tincture. If you can wait a little longer because you just want to feel better and get those overall feelings, then you will use a capsule. A lot of people talk about gummies today. And what you don't understand about a gummy is how they're made. They're made with sugar and corn syrup. They're also made with animal byproducts. They're not vegan. They're made with wheat, and they also have alcohol in them. People are assuming that this is really great for their children because it's in a gummy form. I promise you, give your child tincture, okay? You can also give your children vape capsules. Or if they won't take it, right on the wrist is amazing. Vaping. You see a lot of people vaping today. And I want to talk to you a little bit about this because this is really important to me. My belief is that if you're doing something for the purpose of health, you don't want to do damage at the same time. When you vape, the flower actually has something called a lipid wax. When it is heated through the vaping process, that actually goes directly into your lungs and chafes the lungs. So it can cause chafing, it can cause all sorts of damage. You can recover from it, but I've actually heard of some people that actually have created lesions in the lungs from vaping. Now also the kind of vape that you get is really important because as you notice, a lot of it has the propylene glycol, polyethylene glycol, formaldehyde. I don't want to be put under the ground. I'm not ready yet. So one of the things that it causes is asthma, allergic reactions. It's something that you want to pay attention to. I'm not saying all vapes are bad, but I was at a show in Los Angeles this past weekend with over 100 booths, and I didn't find one that didn't have these chemicals in it. Okay? Not all products are created equal, and this is really important to understand. If you think about industrial hemp, that's what you're looking at on the left-hand side here. Those plants in 90 days grow to 20 feet tall. We were talking earlier about the Ford car. This was the kind of product they used for paper, for ethanol, for all of those things. You're looking at the product on the left-hand side. If you're looking for a product that is phytocannabinoid rich, something that actually has been processed in a way where it's medicinal in value, you're looking at a 4 to 5 foot plant. That's a big difference between 20-foot stalk and a 4 to 5 foot plant. The other thing that happens in the stalks, when it grows, as it gets taller and taller, it actually puts a natural form of butane into the stalk. Something that I don't want to ingest. Okay? And those are things that you want to think about. This is all about education tonight, so that you know the differences and understand what you can have and what you can't have in two different products. The wellness perspective on this is if we have 0.3% THC or less, we fall under that farm bill. So when you're thinking about what you're actually going to take, you need to make sure that it has that. But I also want to state that in December of last year, 18 very large CBD companies were shut down because they had zero CBD in their product. So you want to make sure that the products that you're taking are third-party tested. Tested not only by the lab that is doing the extraction, but by at least one, if not two, other labs in addition to that. So you're getting the quality of what you believe. The other thing you need to understand is that when you're talking about non-GMO, our bodies don't appreciate fake genetic compounds. Okay? They want something natural, something that they know how to use. When we're putting a fake product into our body, it does not know how to absorb or digest it properly. So we're not going to get the benefit. The other thing is, when you think about pesticide-free, that is really important to me because I don't want chemicals in something that I'm ingesting. You know, we all hear about good manufacturing practice. That's somebody who's honest and does third-party testing that can give you the value of what you're really looking for in your product. This probably is the most important slide. And the reason why it's important is we've talked a little bit about the synergy in the CBD. What that really is the phytocannabinoid rich. And I want to share with you, you need a product that has the CBG. CBG is probably only 1% of any cannabidiol that you can get today. Okay, any CBD product can only put 1% in, because CBG, if we could get it in the true value of what we're getting in CBD today, it would probably cost $1 million. It is very, very difficult to extract, but what you can do is there are certain scientists who have actually worked to create plants that have more strength and more synergy with the CBD, and have got some of that in the product. This is going to be, in the next 20 years, CBG is what you're going to hear. It's incredible. Then we talk about CBC. Now this inhibits the cancer cell growth. Now we've heard all about cancer. We understand that it's prevalent today. So if we can inhibit the growth, can we help change some people's lives? Absolutely. Then we've got CBN. This one is all about inflammation reduction and pain and sleep. So when you take those products and you mix them together with something called terpenes. Our fruits have terpenes. And what that is, each season as our fruits grow, we have different terpenes that are in the foods. There's over 80 different terpenes. So when you mix those terpenes with this wonderful form of strong medicinal CBD product with the synergy of at least 3 or 4 different CBs, CBG, CBN, CBCs, that is called the entourage effect. That entourage effect is extremely important because of how it works for your body related to health. It's much more beneficial. Now the other thing I want to show you here is the red line here, that's liposomal. That's that 10% absorption that I was talking about. So here we are, and this is in a 24-hour period of time. So you get that 10% absorption, and then there's not much that stays in your body for very long. It's a very minuscule amount, it goes up just a little. But the nano-emulsion is something that is that 50% stronger, and so it peaks way up there at the top. And then look at how long it takes to actually drop down to where you would be with the liposomal product. What this is your body's ability to rebuild using the product versus just masking. All right? So what we want to do is we want to rebuild, because CBDs together can rebuild bone and muscle. They can change our immune system completely. They can get rid of all of that inflammation. And so you're looking for a full spectrum, high quality product. Today, complementary medicine is really important. When we talk about this, we're talking about acupuncture and massage. We're talking about nutritional supplementation. We're talking about natural products, natural things that you can do. 55% of all Americans today are taking that into thought in doing something. From the weed to the weazened, from the weakened to the robust, whether it is healing or enhancement, individuals in any state of health can benefit from the use of CBD. I really appreciate each and every one of you being here today. That is what we call our history, on the ability for you to make some incredible choices and the type of CBD you want to take. If you want to give this to your child or to your parent, we want you to understand the differences and be able to give them something with the most efficacy possible. And that's what we shared with you. But what happened was, I never asked her to take it. I never suggested she take it. But go ahead. I want you to tell the story.
Well, I was very skeptical, but I said, all right, I'll try anything once, who knows. And I tried a little bit of the salve on my knees, and I took a little bit of the tincture. And usually at night, before I go to sleep, I get really serious restless leg syndrome. I have to walk around. Half the time I have to get on my knees and crawl around because my knees hurt so badly and the back of my legs hurt so badly. Well, it didn't happen that day. So, but I'm a skeptic, you know, placebo effect. Okay, I just thought so, you know, what the hell. I found out that if I did that a second time and a third time the next day and the next day, I really didn't have any problem with restless leg syndrome. But I'm still a skeptic, you know. I go to the movies. I can't sit through a whole movie because I get fidgety. I have to move around. I feel like little spiders are crawling up the back of my legs. And so I have to move. But I went to a movie, and it wasn't even a really good movie. And I was able to sit through the whole darn thing and didn't have a bit of a problem with it. So now I'm, you know, okay, so maybe it's just a little bit of a placebo, but, you know, who knows. So I'm at my house one day, and I have a new puppy dog, a brand new baby. She's a little Maltese. She's 4.5 pounds, and she came to join my Chihuahua, who's 5.5 pounds, and my Dachshund, who at the time was about 16 pounds. And she's feisty, and she didn't like any of them, and they didn't like her. The Chihuahua went after this poor little baby Maltese, and I thought she was going to kill it. I really did. And I had some friends there, and so one of them grabbed the little Maltese, and I grabbed the Chihuahua, and somebody said, use some of that CBD oil on it. So I did a dropper full, the sample size. I just had the little sample size. I put a little of that on the Chihuahua's mouth and on his claw. In seconds, I kid you not, in seconds, boom, calm. Not a problem. Let that dog alone. It was amazing. It was just amazing. Then, you know, shortly after that, it was 4th of July. And I don't know if you have critters, but furry babies do not like fireworks. They're usually pretty ugly and pretty hard to live with. So I gave them all a dose of the tincture right before the fireworks were due to begin. And they were perfectly calm. They didn't have a bit of problem. They just laid down and they were perfectly calm. I thought, oh my goodness, okay, so this is really maybe serious. I don't know. All I can tell you is that from that point on, as skeptical as I am, I'm pretty convinced that CBD is something along the lines of a semi-miracle drug. I don't want to promise you anything, and I wouldn't stand up to anybody else and say it, and I don't take a lot of supplements, but I can tell you that I think CBD is probably one of the better things that I've ever encountered. So I don't have any answers for blood work or anything like that, Bob, but you probably do.
I just know that I'm a disabled vet. I'm constantly tested and blood tested at least twice a year. And I know that there's been no effects. They have no idea that I'm taking CBD oil whatsoever. So I know that applies to other situations as well, you know, whether it's the courts or anything, even though we can't promise it, I know for a fact that it doesn't show. And, you know, because of my own experience. The other thing that I have found, which I think is very important, because I've had 19 surgeries. I need 2 more. I'm getting ready to have hip surgeries. It's allowed me to start living a life again, and I've been involved since the start of it, last October 1st when we first got started. It's allowed me to start living a life again, you know, to move around better. I bought 3 boats yesterday. I don't need 3 boats, but I'm going to resell the boats, but, you know, but it's allowed me to reach out and do some things. I'm back fishing again. I'm doing more work at the house. I can mow my yard front and back. I can weed eat. I can do some things that I could not do before I started taking this product. That's what it's changed for me. And like you said, it was like a 3-day thing for me when we first started. And I tried that vape, and I liked to choke to death. I mean, I started coughing and I got high, and I said, oh my God, what is this? And that's when Janet and I started talking, because, you know, I quit smoking 10 years ago. I didn't want that feeling again. So, you know, it's done a lot for me. I'm on it daily, and it's really changed my life. You know, I can't thank Janet enough for being a friend enough to let me know what this was. And I didn't have a clue what it was at the start. So that's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Dr. Mills, do you want to come up here for a second? This gentleman, I was told to go meet him at a restaurant, and I watched Dr. Mills walk into the restaurant, and I watched him sort of sliding his feet a little. And I knew that he was in pain, and I didn't know how much pain he was in, and so we sat down to a meal, and what did we do during that meal?
Well, I sat there for a moment, opened up my napkin to get ready to eat. She took a little capsule, laid it on the napkin and said, take this before you go and let me know how you feel before you leave. So we ate and talked about the business and so forth. I guess it was about 45 minutes. I didn't notice anything. I had to get ready to leave to go pick up my granddaughter from a location. I told Janet, I said, I got to go, but we'll get back with you later on the business and so forth. She gave me the sample for 3 days. And so I got up, my partner that was with me, he usually have to help me get up from the table or a different way to help me get around. Or usually I have my cane. Well, that particular morning, I jumped up from the table, hugged Janet and hugged Vince, and I took off going toward the door. And Ross screamed out, Dr. Mills, what are you doing? What do you mean, what am I doing? I said, I'm going to the car. He said, yeah, I moved that fast in years. And I thought about it, and I said, wow, just that fast. I have peripheral neuropathy in my legs, from my knees down, all the way down to my toes. I took that sample pack out and looked at this stuff when I got in the car. I said, I'm going to hold on to this for my life. And I took it for 3 days. Within 72 hours, 90% of all that inflammation was gone. I could not stand on concrete. I'd have to sit down. Even when I was in the ministry, pastoring, I couldn't stand long to do weddings and stuff like that. I had to have them bring me a chair to sit down while I was doing the ceremony. Well, I used to have a cane to get around in the grocery store. For a while, I started getting a cart just to keep my balance. I don't need that anymore. I'm skipping to do that, skipping to do that. And I look at people constantly that are in those little scooters in the store when the people that really need them, you got other guys riding around in the scooters. It's amazing. And it's taking effect on all of society. This product right here that we have available here, it's the answer to the opioid crisis. And we have an opportunity, those of you in this room tonight, you have an opportunity to be a pioneer, because a product like this has never been able to be offered like this. You don't have a Me Too product. This is a standalone product, and this is a standalone company, and you're here for the right reason tonight. Don't miss an opportunity.
You're pretty feisty.
I'm a preacher, that's what.
That's the answer, right? And I have to tell you, you see he's standing next to me? He stood next to me this afternoon because we did a presentation like this afternoon, and he stood with me for almost an hour, and he's standing now. I think that in itself is a huge statement, don't you?
Yeah, I've only taken the tincture today when we were at the other restaurant for the other meeting this morning, and I'm feeling fine. I mean, I don't feel any pain. I've been on it again for the last 3 or 4 days, and it's practically gone. I mean, I'm just, very well satisfied with the product.
So can I ask you, Doctor, do you only take the tincture, or do you do the capsules as well? Does it matter? Can you see a difference when you use one versus the other during the daytime?
Yeah, I take the capsules in the morning.
Okay.
Here recently I changed my pattern of sleep, but I'm a night owl. So I started going to bed at 10 to 2. That's your best optimal time to get the rest as far as your pineal gland is concerned. Between 10 and 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I changed it. Usually I'm up to 4 o'clock in the morning. So now when I get up early, I take the capsule. And I started feeling it within 15 to 20 minutes. And it gave me that boost. Now the first time I took it with the curcumin, I took 2 of them. First time, because they said take 1 or 2. Well, I wasn't thinking. The last batch that I had, it didn't have the curcumin in it. I just popped two in my mouth, went on about my business, and I called, well, we met up later that day.
Yeah, we did.
I said, Janet, I said, I got too much energy. She said, what did you do? I said, well, I took 2 of those capsules. She said, oh, no, don't do that. That's more powerful than the last. Just take one. And so I take that in the morning. If I need any problem, if I start getting problem with the arthritic portions of my hands, I just take a little of that salve, rub it in. The other day I started aching on the top of my feet. I took that oil, rubbed it in, gone, just like that. Pastor Dillard had a similar effect at my house the other day with his knee.
Come on up here, Pastor Dillard. Come on. You've tried it one time.
No, I just took 2 tinctures and that other stuff.
Okay, so tell us what happened.
Well, I went to his house to visit. We were chatting, and we were sitting at his computer. And he said, "You hurting anywhere, man?" I said, "Well, my knee hurts. I do have problems with my knee. I've got sciatica, and then I have problems in my knee. I'm a disabled veteran too, 24 years in the Air Force, 60% disabled. And my knees, I have arthritis in my knees. I have arthritis in my cervical spine and fingers, things like that. But at any rate, this particular day, I was only hurting on this knee. And I said, I'm a skeptic. I'm a big time skeptic. And he knows when it comes to things like multi-level marketing, I'm like, our friendship almost broke up because he was asking me to get on board with something one time, and I said, no, man, I ain't doing that. So at any rate, this particular time he gave me just a little bit of that stuff. He said, man, just rub this on your knee. I took a little bit of that stuff and rubbed it on my knee, rubbed it in. I said, okay, yeah, I'm satisfied this cat and I'm gonna leave, I rubbed it on my knee. I got up to leave, and as I was leaving, I turned around and said, hey man, my knee don't hurt. My knee is good, right? And that's why I'm here tonight, because it worked for me in that instance. I'm also a pastor, and I truly believe that people need something that works. It's fine to pray for people and to lay on hands. I believe in the power of the Holy Spirit, but people need a product or something that they can use medicinally that will help them through their pains. And I see people suffering all the time. They say, Pastor, I'm suffering this hurts, that hurts. And all I can do is pray for them, at that particular time. Now there's something that I can share with them that they can use that I know work for me, that will work for them. Because I'm not going to share anything with anyone that doesn't work for me. And so I took that, matter of fact, I probably got more energy than I usually have.
I was going to say, you took that.
Because I took that, I took 2 drops out of my tongue a few minutes ago just to see how it works. I've got a lot of energy. I will be able to sleep tonight, right? Because I really feel energetic after just taking those 2 drops a few minutes ago. Not 2 drops, but 2 tinctures under my tongue. She asked me, did I use the sample? And I'm like this, okay? I'm always sharing. I admit to today, she gave me a sample. I took that sample and I gave it to someone else. Because, we were talking, so I said, try this, man. And if you make this meeting tonight, come to the meeting, but try this. And so I didn't have the sample anymore. And she asked me when I got here, she said, did you try the sample? I said, no. I said, I gave it to someone else, and this is why. And so I was hoping I'd get another sample. When they brought me the sample, I tried it. So, hey, and she had asked me, she said, why didn't you try it? I said, because you told me to take 2 drops before I go to bed. I said, I'm not ready for bed yet, so that's why I didn't try it. So I'm here and I tried it, and now I can tell you, thumbs up. So, hey.
Let me say, if you go to Exodus chapter 30, chapter 30, and verse 22, and look at the ingredients of the holy anointing oil for the priest. Now back then it was just for the priest, but cannabis is mentioned there. If you do your translation, you mention that cannabis is one of the ingredients that went into the holy anointing oil. Now when you come to the New Testament, it said we are kings and what? Priests. We are chosen priesthood, royal nation.
Yeah.
So that meant if it was just for the For the priests back then, it's for us now.
Royal priesthood,
All
chosen
of it.
generation. Yeah, but New Testament, I'm my own self-priest.
Yeah. So
Bless you.
Google up Jesus used cannabis. You just Google it. You're going to come up with all kinds of information. It's going to take you and show you biblical passages where it's inferred that he did use cannabis. That's the history of it. All right. God bless you.